to tell you about Christmas when my children were small. It was happened to be a snow that day, and there was a side street going down the hill, and they would keep sliding down the hill, and I watched them through the window, and they had more fun. And then when it got through, they came in the house, and I made some hot cocoa, and they sat around by the fire, and it was very nice, and I enjoyed it very much. That's what I remember. This is that Christmas morning. We're invited to go up to my daughter and son-in-law's house, and we bring our presents and we put it under the tree. So does the other grandchildren. They bring it too, and they put it under the tree. So in the meantime, my daughter, she makes eggnog from scratch, and it's really nice, and we have that, and we sit around, and then somebody starts calling the names of the packages that belongs to each one of the grandchildren. When they got them all, then we start to unwrap the packages, and we see each other's presents, and then after that, then we go and have breakfast there, and it's very nice. We all enjoy each other, and we do that every year when we go up to their house, up to my daughter and son-in-law. And my daughter's name is Helen, and my son-in-law is Tom Leach and Helen Leach. And we have a wonderful time, and we spend around looking at the presents and everything. It's so nice that we could be all together. And that's what we do every year.
One of our favorite times of Christmas was to go into the woods and get our Christmas tree. We never purchased one. We went out and hunted for one, and we would look and look. It took a long time because we enjoyed going. Can't think of anything else. We had large family gatherings in those days, much more than we do now. It'd be 20 or 30 people, and mostly clan. My aunt or my cousin had a long living room, and she could set the table on into her little dining room. We made our own place cards. We had to hunt for our place at the table. We don't use those at all anymore.
Good afternoon, my name is Elizabeth Bergman, and I'm happy to be here. I just wanted to tell you that my husband and I have been missionaries to Africa for several years, but now we're home and adjusting, and our son is a design engineer, and he lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we have a daughter who lives here in Tacoma, but she and her husband were missionaries in Asia for many years. But things are a little bit different in our cultures, and we learn from them as well as they learn from us. And when we were home on furlough, my son-in-law has a very, very warm heart, and they went to First Presbyterian Church while they were here on furlough, First Pres here in Tacoma. And one Sunday, there was a young man who was in a wheelchair, and he was sort of all alone and by himself. And so my son-in-law saw that nobody was going to invite him over for dinner, so he said, "You come to our house for dinner." But my daughter and son-in-law just lived on the second floor, but he just took that wheelchair and walked up the steps with that wheelchair in his arms, just so this young man would feel wanted and loved. After church, everybody else is drinking their coffee and talking to each other, but here's a young person who needed the love of God, no matter who talked to him. And so my daughter is working at Dykeman's bookstore, and she also works at the airport. She loves her work at the airport because she's always solving problems. People ask me, "What does your daughter do at the airport?" I said, "She's a problem solver. Whatever there is to do, she just jumps in and does it." And so they finally decided that they couldn't be very long without her. For example, there was a young lady who was in the airport trying to get on a flight, and she was crying and crying, and my daughter says, "And why are you crying?" She said, "I don't think I'm going to make my flight." And so my daughter says, "Well, you see that long row of people going down that way? And we're way over here." She said, "If you get on the airplane at all, it'll only be God that will get you on it." And so my daughter managed, by the grace of God, to get her on this plane. And she was so thrilled to get on the plane, she ran back to the door before my daughter had to get out and get off the plane, or she would go flying also. And she gave my daughter a big hug. But then she went home and she wrote a letter of commendation to the Port of Seattle to tell them what my daughter did for her. And another time there was a paraplegic that had to get on or off from one of these planes that just come out, they're just on the outside, and then there's steps you have to go up, or a ramp you have to go up. It gets very difficult sometimes. And so here was this paraplegic and a younger worker working with my daughter. And so they looked at Sylvia, and she said, "Well, what are we going to do?" And my daughter says, "Well, 1, 2, 3, and the two of them lifted it with their female arms and got him on. And the Lord helps them in a lot of different situations. In one situation, a man had just had heart surgery in the morning, and they tried to send him home in the afternoon on the airplane. And he was getting almost desperate, and he needed physical help, and he was carrying his little bag with him, and pretty soon here was this puddle that he was making, and I don't know how Sylvia solved it, but the boss, the high-up boss, he said I could have hugged her, how she handled the whole affair. So anyway, she likes things to get complicated so that she can find out a way to help it and get it through. And so, anyway, is that enough?
Yes, that's good.
That's enough.
You got a wonderful daughter.
I have to tell you that I have 2 sisters, and one brother, but the two sisters, one Christmas, we girls, two older girls, we got lovely dolls. She got one like this, and I got one like this. But my little sister, she got a big Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, that they had in those days, a big Mickey Mouse, and put in one of these little tiny campus strollers. And she was very angry, and she says, "I want a doll." But the parents didn't buy her a doll then because she didn't know how to take care of her things. But later down the years, my mother did get her a nice doll. And anyway, she was learning some lessons in how to take care of things. So anyway, our parents read to us from the Bible every day. And even though we didn't have a car, they saved their money and did without a car and sent us to a private Christian school, and so that we would all turn out to be Christian people, and it worked.
Well, when I was a very small child, I had two brothers, just a few years older than I, and we never put our Christmas tree up until the day before Christmas. And then the kids always got to decorate the tree. Of course, it's just to be the bottom of the tree. And so then they cranked their little box, "Oh, Santa Claus is coming," so we went to bed. And when we got up the next morning, the whole tree was decorated. And they said, "Look, that's what Santa did because you went to sleep." That's about the best thing I can think of. I never will forget that, because we put all that stuff around the bottom. It must have taken them a long time to take it off. But it was all done. So my two brothers helped decorate too. They were 3 and 5 years older.
Okay, my name's Paul Ellis. Guess my best Christmas was when my mom and dad were alive, and all his kids sit around the tree and watch TV and eat popcorn and just have a good time. It's just me and my sister now. We're the only two left. My brother passed away, my sister passed away, and my mom and dad are gone, so it's just us two now. We're just glad to be around each other and be happy and wish the best for each other. So all you can ask for, I guess. So happy to be here. It's a nice place to be. And take good care of me. Keep me healthy. So that's about all I can say. Is happy to be here.
forward to is our new ice skates at Christmas. Because that meant we had skates that fit. Our sister's age was 3, that's me, 6 and 9. So we inherited our older sister's skates. And we had our own private rink. My dad would just sprinkle water on it, on any ground, and we had an instant rink. It's very flat in North Dakota. In fact, the one hill they got is marked hill 3 feet.
I'm Alice Thompson, and I was born and raised in Iowa. And the reason I'm here in Washington is my husband was in the Army for 40 years, in the regular Army. We traveled the world. We lived in Germany for 7 years. I have 2 daughters, and my most favorite Christmas is when we as a family, my husband, myself, and our 2 girls, came home from Germany when we were over there during the war and lived on a German economy. It's a wonderful life. Never regretted a moment of it. But again, it's the military that was so good to us and kept us together as a good, happy family. The girls weren't denied a thing. They went to school, learned German, and it was just a wonderful experience. And when we came home to America, it was like coming to, well, it was a different country altogether, because the living is different, the activities, but my girls thrived, and they both have professional careers now as school teachers, and I have no regret being in the Army 40-some years with my husband. It was a great life.
Okay, you can start.
My family was on the welfare, and that was a pretty situation. I had to go down to the welfare to get the food coupon, so we could have some food to feed. And it was pretty sad, but we had my mother and my dad loved us, so. My teacher at school, I went to school that day, and she had brought me some clothes, and it was so pretty. And I'd never forget, her name was Miss McLean, and she was such a loving person. So she went back to the back of the room and put them on. Oh, I was so happy.
Is that all?
What?
Do you watch your kids open up their presents?
Yep, they all had their presents.
How were they, or were they exciting?
Yeah. But we didn't take anything for granted. Well, we just whatever we had, they gave us.
favorite Christmas memory is when my husband came back from the Philippines in the war. When he came home that year, I had gone to his parents so that he would come there too. I about froze to death. I don't think maybe. I've never been so cold in my life. I've never been in that Minnesota country. So that was one of my favorite Christmas memories, because he came home that Christmas from being in the Philippines for 2 years in the Army, World War II. Actually, he was in it longer, but they didn't send him over, or that unit over before that. So he went over there for 2 years to the Philippines. I don't know if they did any good over there. But anyway, he came home, so evidently they did something good. And that was one of my favorite Christmas memories. Otherwise, was going to my grandparents every Christmas. So.
I'm Helen Bernice. I'm a resident here at the Tacoma Lutheran Home. They treat us well here. My husband gets to come every day to see me. My husband's name is Edmund. We bring our little dog, Oxen. They're doing very well. And like I said, my husband gets to visit every day, which makes it very nice.
I'm this young lady's husband, Edmund Bernice. I met this young lady 71 years ago. We've been married 64 years ago, and we have had 9 children, of whom are all grown up now. But the most precious thing that Helen and I remember is the children. Christmas Eve, Helen and I would stay up almost all night long, assembling gifts, bicycles, little miniature cars and sleds. And by the time we got finished, it was about 5:30 in the morning. And so Helen and I retired. And about 5 minutes to 6, one of the children of the 9 would come in and bounce on the bed and say, "Mom, Dad, Santa Claus been here. Come on out, come on out, come on out." And I looked at my lovely wife and I says, "Merry Christmas." And she's the most precious thing in my life, even by today.
Thank you.
Thank you.